The space station Eos Prime floated silently above the blue and green marble of the planet below. Its metal hull shimmered in the starlight, a beacon of human ingenuity in the midst of a galaxy that had long forgotten mercy. Inside, corridors hummed with life. Scientists, engineers, and soldiers moved with purpose, their voices echoing softly against the steel walls. But in the middle of this ordinary night, something extraordinary was about to happen. Captain Cale Varn stood in his small quarters, sharpening the edge of his combat knife. His movements were calm, almost ritualistic, as though each scrape of the blade against the whetstone reminded him of every battle he had survived. Outside the window, the stars twinkled like tiny beacons, and Cale allowed himself a rare moment of quiet. Life on Eos Prime was tense, but moments like this reminded him why humans endured. Cale's attention was drawn to the small device strapped to his wrist, a sleek, silver band that glowed faintly with energy. It was his secret, a power he had never revealed to anyone, not even to his closest friends. This device allowed him to manipulate energy in ways no ordinary human could. It was dangerous, feared, and above all, forbidden. Cale knew that if the wrong person discovered it, the consequences could be catastrophic. That was why he had hidden it so carefully, only allowing it to shine when absolutely necessary. The hum of the station's energy systems was suddenly pierced by a sharp alarm. Red lights flashed across the corridor outside his quarters. Cale's instincts kicked in immediately. He dropped the knife and moved to the window, scanning the docking bay below. A ship unlike any he had ever seen was approaching the station. Sleek, dark, and glowing with an eerie green light, it hovered without sound. Then, without warning, a voice echoed through the room, not from speakers, but inside his mind. "Captain Cale Varn, you hide something." Cale froze. The voice was deep, commanding, and undeniably alien. He had heard of alien monarchs and ambassadors, but nothing like this. The words carried an authority that demanded attention, and yet they were curious, not hostile. The wall of his quarters shimmered and dissolved as if it were made of mist. There, stepping into the room with the grace of a creature used to command and respect, was the alien queen. Her form was tall and elegant, with shimmering skin that reflected the lights of the station in waves of green and silver. Eyes like liquid emeralds studied him carefully, and her presence seemed to press against the air itself. Cale's heart pounded. He had trained for alien invasions, but never had he expected one to arrive in his own quarters, unannounced and without warning. He raised his hands slowly, showing he was unarmed. "I am not your enemy," he said, his voice steady despite the tension. The queen tilted her head, regarding him with a mixture of curiosity and caution. "Enemies conceal nothing, yet you hide a great force." Cale felt a flicker of panic. Could she sense the device? Had she already discovered his secret? His mind raced. "No," he told himself. "She cannot know. Not yet." I am just a soldier," Cale replied carefully. "I serve humanity. Nothing more." The queen stepped closer, her movements smooth and deliberate. Cale could feel the power radiating from her. Not just physical strength, but something deeper, mental, perhaps. A presence that could unsettle even the bravest warriors. "You are more than a soldier," she said, her voice calm but insistent. "I can feel it in your aura. You hold a force that could change the balance of worlds. Why do you hide it?" Cale swallowed hard. He did not answer immediately. To speak the truth now could be dangerous. To lie might provoke her suspicion. He studied her closely, noticing the small, intricate symbols engraved along the edges of her armor. They glowed faintly, pulsating in rhythm with her heartbeat, or what seemed like a heartbeat. She was not just any alien, she was a being of immense power and intelligence. "The world is not ready," he finally said, choosing his words carefully. "Some powers are meant to be used only when the time is right." The queen's eyes narrowed slightly, But she did not press further. Instead, she let silence fill the room. Cale could feel her studying him, searching for signs of deception, for the slightest flicker that would reveal his secret. He forced himself to breathe slowly, steadying the rise and fall of his chest. Minutes passed like hours. The Queen finally spoke again. "Perhaps. We shall see." She moved closer to the window and looked out at the stars beyond. Humanity is fragile, yet it survives. You, Cale Varn, may be the proof of your kind's potential. Cale felt a strange mixture of relief and dread. Relief because she had not yet discovered his full power, and dread because now she would watch him. Every action, every choice he made would be under her scrutiny. And yet, there was something compelling about her presence, something that made him feel respected. Suddenly, the station trembled violently. The lights flickered, and alarms blared once more. Cale and the Queen were thrown off balance as the entire room shook. From the window, Cale could see a squad of rogue drones approaching the station, firing energy bolts that ricocheted off the outer hull. The Queen's eyes glinted with recognition. "Trouble comes faster than expected," she said, turning to Cale. "Perhaps your hidden strength will be needed sooner than you think." Cale's pulse quickened. He glanced at the device on his wrist, feeling the familiar hum of energy waiting to be unleashed. For now, he would keep it hidden. But the moment was coming. He could feel it in the shaking walls, in the charged air around him. The alien Queen took a step back and raised her hand, sending a wave of calm energy through the room. The tremors subsided, and the lights stabilized. Cale looked at her in surprise. She had the ability to control the chaos around them, and yet she had not acted aggressively. "Observe, human," she said softly. "Learn, survive, and perhaps, one day, reveal the truth." With that, she stepped back toward the shimmering wall of the room. In a blink, she was gone, leaving Cale alone with his thoughts, the quiet hum of the station, and the secret power he had sworn to conceal. Cale sank onto the edge of his bed, gripping the device tightly. Tonight, he realized, humanity's story had changed. The galaxy had noticed, and he, a single human warrior, had become a point of fascination for one of its most powerful beings. Outside, the stars continued to shine, but Cale knew that the peaceful night was over. The true challenge, the test of his courage, his skill, and his hidden power, was only just beginning. The morning on Eos Prime began like any other, or at least it tried to. Sunlight from the nearby star filtered through the observation windows, casting long shadows across the metallic floors. But the calm was deceptive. In the mess halls, corridors, and command centers, whispers of the previous night's events traveled quickly. The alien Queen, a being no human had seen before, had entered Captain Cale Varn's quarters, unannounced, and vanished without explanation. Cale walked through the hallways with measured steps, his eyes scanning the station. His mind replayed every detail of the Queen's visit, the way her eyes glimmered with intelligence, the soft authority in her voice, and the way she seemed to sense something hidden within him. The device on his wrist pulsed faintly beneath his sleeve, a constant reminder that he carried a secret no one could know. His first stop was the training deck, a place where humans and allied aliens practiced combat, honed skills, and shared knowledge. Cale entered, nodding to a few soldiers who respected him, though none could guess the truth of his hidden power. He began warming up, stretching his muscles and preparing for the day, but his mind remained elsewhere. It was not long before he sensed her presence again. The alien Queen had not left the station. Somehow, she moved silently among the humans, observing without revealing herself. Cale noticed small anomalies, shadows that lingered too long, reflections that did not match reality, and a soft, cold hum in the air whenever she was near. She did not speak. She did not act aggressively, but she was watching, and Cale could feel it. Suddenly, a voice echoed in his mind, the same calm yet commanding tone from last night. "You try to hide your strength, But the time will come when hiding is no longer possible. Kale froze in place. His hands clenched into fists. He had trained for stealth, for combat, for deception, but nothing prepared him for an alien mind that could see inside thoughts, feel hesitation, and sense intent. He forced himself to breathe deeply. "I am ready for that time when it comes," he replied silently, his voice calm in his mind, but steady in tone. "Not before." "Curiosity drives survival," she answered. "I will not leave you alone until I understand this. Power you guard." Kale's jaw tightened. He knew she could test him at any moment. The question was, would he reveal even a fragment of his secret? As the day went on, Kale trained with humans and aliens alike. He sparred with strength, skill, and precision, impressing his peers. Every move, every strike, was calculated not just to show proficiency, but to hide the true potential locked within him. The device on his wrist hummed faintly, but he resisted the temptation to use it. By mid-afternoon, the Queen made her presence known in the training hall. Without stepping fully into the light, she leaned against the wall, observing silently. Her eyes followed Kale's every move, studying the angles of his strikes, the speed of his reflexes, and the precision of his decisions. He sensed her judgment not of skill alone, but of character, resolve, and control. A junior alien cadet approached Kale for a sparring match. Kale accepted, but he held back, performing just well enough to maintain the cadet's respect, without revealing the hidden edge of his power. The cadet struggled to keep pace, but Kale's focus never wavered. All the while, the Queen's gaze seemed to pierce through layers of training, examining the restraint he maintained. When the sparring ended, the Queen finally spoke aloud, her voice calm but melodic, commanding the attention of everyone present. "Captain Kale Varn, you wield skill like no other human I have seen, but there is something more." The room grew silent. Every soldier, cadet, and officer turned to look at her. Kale straightened, maintaining composure, though a hint of unease rippled through him. "You watch too much," Kale said, choosing his words carefully. "This station is busy. I have duties to attend." "Curiosity is not a sin," she replied softly. "And truth is not weakness." Kale's fingers brushed the device under his sleeve. The hum was stronger now, as if the Queen's proximity drew energy from it without touching. He realized that hiding it might no longer be possible, if she persisted. He also realized something else. He did not entirely fear her discovery. Perhaps it was respect. Perhaps it was instinct. Later that evening, Kale retreated to his quarters. The hum of the station was quiet, but he was not alone. The Queen appeared again, stepping from the shadows like she had the ability to bend reality itself. This time, she did not speak immediately. She simply watched, letting the silence stretch. "Why do you resist showing me?" she asked finally. Kale met her gaze, steady and unflinching. "Because power without control is dangerous. Because some things are not meant to be known until the moment is right." The Queen tilted her head. "You carry more than skill. You carry potential beyond imagination. I have seen stars fall and empires crumble. And yet, humans survive. Perhaps you are the reason." Kale felt a mixture of pride and unease. Pride because his species was finally recognized for its potential. Unease because the Queen's curiosity might force him into a choice he was not ready to make. "Do not follow me blindly," Kale said. "You may learn the truth when the time comes. But until then, I keep this secret." "Very well," she said, but her eyes glimmered with intrigue. "I will wait, and I will watch. But one day, your secret will face the test it deserves." Kale knew the Queen would not leave him in peace. Her presence was both a warning and a challenge. He wondered if humanity was ready for the consequences of his hidden power. And yet, a part of him understood that the future his own and the galaxy's was tied to that power, whether he wished it or not. That night, Cale stood at the observation window, staring at the stars beyond the station. The Queen's words echoed in his mind. Your secret will face the test. He clenched his fist around the device, feeling its faint warmth. A test was coming, he knew. One that would challenge his courage, his skill, and his ability to protect the humans who depended on him. And he also knew that he was not alone. Somewhere in the darkness, the alien Queen was watching, and for the first time, Cale realized that perhaps her curiosity could become an unexpected ally. Outside, the galaxy stretched endlessly, full of wonders, dangers, and secrets. Cale Varn, human warrior, stood ready, not yet revealing the power he guarded, but preparing for the moment when human courage and hidden strength would be called upon to face the unknown. The calm on Eos Prime shattered in an instant. Alarms blared through the corridors, flashing red and casting harsh shadows across the metal walls. The hum of the station's energy systems turned into a high-pitched shriek as external sensors detected multiple unauthorized ships approaching at impossible speeds. Captain Cale Varn felt his heart race. But his mind remained focused. He had trained for emergencies like this countless times. Yet, this was different. Something about the speed, the precision, and the aggression of the attackers made him uneasy. These were not ordinary raiders. They were calculated, organized, and lethal. Cale sprinted through the corridor, his boots clanging against the steel floor. Every soldier he passed had already assumed positions, their faces determined but anxious. The alien Queen, as if sensing the station's chaos, appeared at the central command deck. She moved with the fluid grace of a predator, her eyes scanning the holographic displays of the approaching threat. These invaders are not here for diplomacy, she said softly, almost to herself. They seek conquest, and they will underestimate humans. Cale reached the command deck and saluted. Captain Cale reporting, ma'am. The outer perimeter is under attack. Shields are holding, but barely. The Queen glanced at him, her gaze sharp, yet curious. Do you intend to defend this station with weapons alone, or will you reveal what you hide? No. Cale's jaw tightened. He knew the full potential of the device on his wrist could turn the tide, but using it would reveal his secret. Still, he had no choice. Civilians were in danger. Colonists were trapped. Humanity needed him. I will hold them, he said, voice steady, though his fingers brushed the device under his sleeve. He didn't unleash its full power yet, but he allowed a small surge of energy to flow, just enough to reinforce the station's shields and stabilize a few critical systems. The glow of the device pulsed faintly beneath his sleeve, unnoticed by most but impossible for the Queen to miss. The invaders launched boarding drones, metal shapes that tore through the vacuum of space and clamped onto the hull. Soldiers fired plasma rifles, and explosions shook the station. Cale leapt into action, sprinting down the corridors with remarkable speed, striking drones with precise blows, disabling their circuits before they could breach key access points. Every move was deliberate, every decision perfect, but always carefully controlled to hide the true extent of his ability. As he cleared the corridor, a massive drone burst through a side panel, its claws swinging wildly. Cale sidestepped and grabbed a nearby energy baton, striking the drone's main control panel. Sparks flew, and the drone collapsed in a heap. Around him, other soldiers struggled to fight off the swarm, but Cale's presence inspired them. His skill, strategy, and calm under pressure became a guiding force in the chaos. The Queen moved alongside him, though she did not touch the weapons or fight directly. Instead, she observed, occasionally sending subtle energy waves that disrupted enemy drones or redirected their fire. Her movements were precise, almost elegant. And Cale realized that she was testing him, not just observing the battle. The situation escalated when a section of the station's energy core began to overheat. Explosions threatened to tear the station apart, and hundreds of civilians were trapped in nearby corridors. Cale knew he had no choice. He activated a controlled burst from the device on his wrist. Energy surged outward, bending metal and redirecting power. The heat dissipated, systems stabilized, and the civilians were saved. The effect on the attackers was immediate. The boarding drones malfunctioned. Their circuits scrambled by the energy pulse. The human soldiers cheered, though they had no idea what had just occurred. The Queen, however, watched with wide eyes, clearly impressed. She had never seen a human harness energy in such a controlled, effective manner. "Interesting," she said, her voice calm but tinged with surprise. "You do not simply wield power. You command it with wisdom." Cale did not respond. He lowered his wrist and concealed the device once more, feeling both relief and anxiety. The secret was partially revealed, but not fully. Still, he knew that the Queen had now seen a glimpse of what humans could truly achieve. The battle was far from over. The invaders regrouped, launching a massive energy cannon aimed directly at the station's main hub. Soldiers scrambled, firing everything they had. Cale ran forward, positioning himself at a critical junction where the blast could be redirected. With a deep breath, he channeled another small surge from his device, bending the energy and sending it harmlessly into space. The station shuddered, but survived. For the first time, Cale noticed a subtle change in the Queen's demeanor. Her respect was clear, but so was her curiosity. She had watched him fight with skill, bravery, and hidden power, and she seemed fascinated by the combination. She did not speak immediately, letting the silence stretch between them as they moved through the battle together. The invaders, seeing their attacks fail repeatedly, finally withdrew. Their ships retreated into the darkness of space, leaving behind wreckage and smoke. Cale stood in the central hall, breathing heavily, his uniform scorched and bloodied from minor injuries. Soldiers gathered around, cheering, patting his back, and praising his leadership. The Queen stepped forward, her eyes locking with Cale's. "You have exceeded my expectations," she said quietly. Few beings could control such power without letting it consume them. Cale bowed his head slightly. "It is not power alone that saves lives. It is courage, strategy, and teamwork." She smiled faintly. "Perhaps, but power used wisely is a rare gift. You humans have hidden potential beyond imagination. I see it now." She secresepsen. "I see it now." She secresepsen. She secresepsen. The station slowly returned to normal, systems repaired, alarms silenced, and soldiers checking for survivors. Cale walked through the corridors, quietly helping wherever he could, all the while aware that the alien Queen had witnessed the first glimpse of his secret. Later that evening, Cale returned to his quarters. It had saved lives today, but it had also drawn attention. The question lingered in his mind. How long before the galaxy, and even the Queen herself, demanded he reveal the full extent of his ability? Cale stared out at the stars, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. Humanity had survived today, thanks to skill, courage, and a glimpse of hidden power. But greater challenges awaited. And Cale knew that the real test of his strength was still to come. Above all, he understood one truth. Humans were underestimated, even by the most powerful alien empires. And he, a single warrior with a secret, had begun to show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. The aftermath of the attack left EOS Prime buzzing with activity. Soldiers repaired damage, engineers recalibrated systems, and civilians whispered tales of a human warrior whose bravery had saved them all. But amidst the chaos, Captain Cale Varn moved quietly, attending to minor emergencies while keeping a watchful eye on the shadows. He knew the alien Queen had observed his actions during the battle and he suspected her presence would continue. She appeared in his quarters as dusk fell over the station, her arrival silent and sudden. Kael barely flinched now. He had grown used to her mysterious appearances. She stood by the window, arms crossed, looking at the stars with the same calm intensity she always carried. "You have impressed me," she said finally. Her voice was soft, yet it carried the weight of command. "You wield your hidden power wisely, and yet you resist showing its full extent. Why?" Kael tightened his fists around the device on his wrist, now safely concealed beneath his sleeve. "Power without purpose can destroy more than it saves. I only use it to protect those who cannot protect themselves." The Queen regarded him thoughtfully. "Noble, but limited. There is a larger danger approaching. Your restraint may not be enough." Kael frowned. "What danger?" "A galactic force unlike any I have seen," she said. "An invader fleet of biomechanical ships that consume worlds. They have destroyed countless civilizations, leaving nothing behind. They will reach your sector soon." Kael's mind raced. He had faced battles, rogue aliens, and rogue fleets. But this was different. A threat of this scale could wipe out humanity in an instant. Yet he also understood that hiding now would serve no purpose. "We need an alliance," the Queen continued. "Humanity has courage, but alone, you will fall. Together, we may stand a chance." Kael studied her. He had been wary of trusting her. After all, she had entered his quarters uninvited, observed his hidden strength, and tested his restraint. But her warning was sincere, and he could sense the urgency behind her words. "I will not betray humanity," he said firmly, "but I will work with you if it is the only way to protect our people." The Queen's eyes gleamed. "That is all I ask. Trust must be earned. But I will observe your actions carefully. You have potential, Captain Kael Varn, and I intend to see it fully realized." Over the following days, Kael and the Queen began a careful collaboration. He trained human soldiers in advanced tactics, incorporating strategies he had learned from observing alien combat. The Queen shared knowledge of alien technology, teaching humans how to manipulate energy fields, shield systems, and weaponry far beyond their usual reach. At first, many soldiers were uneasy, wary of working alongside an alien monarch. But Kael's calm leadership and clear skill earned their respect. Slowly, they began to trust not only him, but also the Queen, who remained a distant yet powerful figure, offering guidance and subtle assistance. During training exercises, the Queen often observed Kael quietly. Her attention was never accusatory. Instead, it carried curiosity and admiration. She occasionally tested him with small simulations, scenarios where he had to make critical choices in life or death situations. Each time, Kael used a fraction of his secret power, always controlled, always precise. She noted not just the power itself, but the discipline behind it. "You are different from your species," she said one evening as they watched simulations from the command deck. "Most humans would panic. Most would unleash power without thought. You do not." Kael shrugged lightly. "I have learned that strength is only useful when paired with judgment." She inclined her head, a subtle gesture of approval. "Good. That quality may determine the survival of your entire species." As days passed, intelligence reports revealed the magnitude of the approaching threat. The biomechanical fleet, known as the Vorath, moved steadily toward the sector. Entire star systems had already fallen. Planets reduced to ashes. Civilizations erased. Panic began to spread among some of the station's inhabitants. Kael and the Queen knew that preparation, strategy, and unity would be their only hope. "We must combine our forces," Kael said during a strategy meeting with both human commanders and alien officers. "The Vorath will not fight like ordinary invaders. They are relentless, calculating, and adaptive. We need to think beyond conventional tactics." The Queen added, I can provide energy shielding and manipulation for critical areas, but it will require precise coordination. Your people must learn quickly. KL nodded. Then we train, we plan, and we prepare. Every soldier, every engineer, every ally must understand that this battle will determine the fate of our world, and possibly others. Over the next few days, KL led humans in drills that tested both endurance and intelligence. They practiced emergency evacuations, energy redirection, and coordinated strikes against simulated biomechanical attacks. Under KL's guidance, humans began to understand alien technology, and their confidence grew. The Queen's presence remained both inspiring and intimidating, a constant reminder of the potential and the stakes at hand. One evening, as KL reviewed defense plans in his quarters, the Queen appeared again, quietly observing his work. "Your strategy is clever," she said, "but it relies heavily on restraint. What happens when restraint is not enough?" KL looked at her, thoughtful. "Then we adapt. That is what humans do. We survive by finding solutions when none seem possible. Adaptation, courage, hidden strength," she repeated softly. "I understand now why your species endures. You may be underestimated, but that underestimation is your advantage." For the first time, KL saw not just curiosity in her eyes, but respect. The alien queen, once an unknown observer, had become an unexpected ally. Someone who recognized humanity's potential and was willing to fight alongside them. Yet, he knew, the real test was still ahead. Night fell over Eos Prime, the station's lights casting long reflections on the metallic walls. KL stood at the observation window once more, watching the stars. Somewhere in the void, the Vorath fleet approached, an unstoppable force moving closer with each passing moment. The Queen appeared beside him, silent. Together, they stared at the stars, both aware of the immense challenge looming over them. "Tomorrow, the true test begins," she said. "And when it comes, your hidden strength may be the key to survival." KL nodded. "I am ready." He clenched his fist around the device under his sleeve, feeling its familiar hum. Humanity had survived battles before, but this would be different. This would demand courage, ingenuity, and the hidden potential that he had sworn to conceal until the moment when revealing it could save countless lives. Together, human and alien, warrior and queen, they prepared for the coming storm. And in that preparation, KL realized something profound. The galaxy had underestimated humans for too long. Now, it would see what they were truly capable of. The void of space stretched endlessly beyond Eos Prime, black and silent, except for the faint shimmer of distant stars. But that silence was deceptive. On the edge of the system, a vast fleet of biomechanical ships, the Vorath, approached, their surfaces gleaming with cold, unfeeling metal. Each ship moved with precision, ready to consume anything in its path. The station's sensors picked up thousands of vessels, each one a predator in the dark. Captain KL Varn stood at the command deck, eyes fixed on the display, calculating, analyzing, and planning. Beside him, the alien queen observed silently, her presence a calm, powerful counterpoint to the rising tension. Human soldiers and alien allies moved through the command deck with purpose, preparing weapons, energy shields, and tactical systems. "The Vorath will strike in less than an hour," KL said, his voice steady but tense. "Every system must operate perfectly. Every soldier must follow orders precisely. We cannot afford mistakes." KL said mistakes. The Queen nodded. "I will provide shield reinforcement and energy manipulation, but it will require absolute coordination. The humans must execute flawlessly. News. News 1. News 1. News." KL looked around at the soldiers' nervous faces, clenched fists, and determined eyes. Humanity had never faced a threat like this, yet there was courage in their stance. He felt a surge of pride. "Then, we give them a reason to believe," he said softly, more to himself than anyone else. As the first Voreth ships entered the system, the battle began. Energy beams tore through space, striking the station's outer shields. Explosions rippled across the hull, sending shudders through the decks. Human soldiers fired weapons, alien allies manipulated energy fields, and Kale ran from station to station, issuing commands, assisting injured crews, and monitoring the critical points where the Vorath tried to break through. It became clear quickly that conventional weapons alone could not stop the invaders. Kale clenched his fists around the device on his wrist. He had tried to keep it hidden, but now, to save countless lives, he would need to use it. He activated a controlled burst of energy. A wave of power surged from him, bending space around incoming ships, redirecting attacks harmlessly into the void. Human and alien forces alike gasped at the sudden display of raw, precise power. The Vorath responded immediately, adapting to the energy manipulation. Kale realized that he could not act recklessly. He would need to combine strategy, human ingenuity, and his hidden power to succeed. The Queen moved beside him, her energy fields complementing his, creating a shield network that stretched across critical areas of the station. Together, they became a force the Voreth had not anticipated. Human courage, alien wisdom, and hidden potential intertwined. "Keep the shield steady," Kale called out, directing human engineers to focus power to weak points. Use their attacks against them. Predict, redirect, and strike. Soldiers followed his orders with precision. Human ingenuity shone as they repurposed weapons, created makeshift defenses, and coordinated with alien energy systems. Each small success boosted morale. Kale could feel the tide beginning to turn. But he also knew the Vorath would escalate. The invaders launched a massive strike at the station's core, aiming to destroy the heart of Eos Prime. Kyle ran to the energy junction, where the device on his wrist pulsed with power. He could feel it coursing through him, waiting for full release. He glanced at the Queen, who nodded. There was trust in her eyes, a recognition that this moment could decide the fate of countless lives. Kale concentrated. A wave of energy exploded outward from his device, bending matter and energy with precise control. The blast redirected the Voreth's strike, dispersing the energy safely into space. The station shuddered, but it held. Human and alien crews cheered. Their hope reignited. "You are extraordinary," the Queen said quietly, observing him with awe. Few beings could control such power with such discipline. Kale did not answer. There was no time. The Vorath regrouped, adapting once again. But now, humanity had learned from Kale's actions. Soldiers anticipated attacks, redirected firepower creatively, and struck weak points with newfound confidence. The combination of human ingenuity and Kale's energy manipulation created a feedback loop the Voreth could not counter. Hours passed in intense combat. Ships exploded, debris floated in the void, and energy waves painted the darkness with flashes of light. Every time the Vorath attempted to break through, Kale and the Queen responded, guiding humans and aliens alike in coordinated strikes. Slowly, systematically, they dismantled the invaders' strategy. Finally, the Vorath fleet faltered. Ships collided with one another in confusion, while others were pushed back by precise bursts of energy and well-placed strikes. The remnants of the invaders retreated into the void, leaving behind only wreckage. Silence returned to the system, broken only by the distant hum of the station's life support and the cheers of exhausted but triumphant crews. Kale sank to his knees, exhausted, sweat and grime covering him. Around him, soldiers celebrated. Yet he remained focused, making sure the injured were safe, the systems stable, and the station intact. The Queen approached him, her gaze soft but commanding. "You have shown me the truth of your species," she said. "Humanity is not weak. You have courage, ingenuity, and a hidden strength that rivals even the greatest empires." Kale looked at her, finally allowing himself a small smile. "We survive, not because we are the strongest, but because we refuse to give up. We adapt, we fight, and we protect those who cannot protect themselves." The Queen extended a hand, not in command, but in respect. "Then let this victory be remembered. Humanity has earned its place among the stars, and I will ensure the galaxy sees it." Over the following days, Eos Prime recovered. Engineers repaired the damage, soldiers trained with renewed confidence, and civilians celebrated their survival. Kale remained humble, quietly aiding wherever he could. Yet the galaxy had changed. Stories of a human warrior with a hidden power, guided by courage and discipline, spread throughout allied civilizations. The Queen spoke openly of his bravery, praising humans for their ingenuity, spirit, and resilience. Kale knew that his secret power remained mostly concealed. The Queen had seen it, but the galaxy had only glimpsed its effects. That was enough. Quote, "Humanity's reputation had shifted from underestimated species to a force capable of shaping galactic events." Standing at the observation window one last time, Kyle looked at the stars. The Vorath threat had been halted, but the universe was vast, full of dangers and mysteries. Yet he no longer felt fear. Humanity had survived unimaginable odds, and he, a single warrior with a secret, had helped show the galaxy the strength of his people. The alien queen appeared beside him. Silent. They did not speak. Words were unnecessary. The bond forged in battle, the mutual respect, and the shared triumph spoke volumes. Together, human and alien, they had faced the impossible and prevailed. "The galaxy will watch humans now," she said softly. "And perhaps they will finally understand what we have known all along. Courage, wisdom, and hidden strength can change the course of history." Kale nodded. "And humanity will rise to meet whatever comes next." The stars shone brightly beyond the window, vast and infinite. The battle was over, but the story of human courage, ingenuity, and potential had only just begun. And Captain Kale Varn, warrior and guardian, had ensured that humanity's place in the galaxy was secured not by sheer power alone, but by the wisdom to wield it, the courage to act, and the heart to protect.